Now, with everybody talking about optimizing testosterone, which is all fair and good, I believe you as a man can receive far more in excess of the benefits of high testosterone when you first look at eliminating what is destroying your T. So here are 9 things I believe every single man needs to become very savvy with quickly and eliminate these things from their environment, and they will see all the heightened male masculine characteristics that come with somebody that has high T by taking out the poison in your environment. So let's begin with sugar and refined carbohydrates, of course. So when insulin spikes, typically after a high meal in sugar and carbs, then this can lead to lower levels of an important protein known as sex hormone binding globulin. So this binds excess estrogen and testosterone in the blood, but when it's low, these hormone levels increase. This is going to work hand in hand if you are overweight. And you have all of those excess, you have your testosterone bound up in the blood. I think it's really important as a man. And again, I don't profess to be to know a uniform holistic diet for every single man to use, but I work phenomenally well on low carbohydrate, very low, almost, I wouldn't say ketogenic, but a lot of organ meat. I eat beef liver, heart, bone marrow, so eat oxtail, of course, all red meat, ground meat, cuts of steak, chicken, fish, cheese, and then my only real carbohydrate source is at a push rice, but it would usually be kind of like just cruciferous vegetables at the basic level, and even then I'm thinking, most plants have a defense mechanism and they don't want to be eaten. And there's a lot of research to suggest that I believe it's phytotoxins that will not contribute to your holistic health in that respect. So I think every single man needs to eliminate these kinds of things from their diet and they'll see a drastic improvement. Let's talk about statins. Now, this is probably going to be maybe for the older men who are worried about their cholesterol level, which is absolute bullshit, by the way. But it's found that statins lower testosterone by about 3.4% amongst the men that were actually taking them. Cholesterol is fat in the bloodstream, right? And you have to remember cholesterol will fluctuate depending on when you're eating your meals, when you're eating that fat. Fat is very good for you. We have demonized fat for so long, and it's an essential component in hormone regulation. If you're watching this video, bet money you're not eating enough fat in your diet. You need to be eating oily fish. You need to be eating animal fat. Your big cuts of, ground beef, don't go for like the 2%. You need to get the 20, the 30% if you can. The more the better, and it tastes better as well. You want to be really leveraging, those fatty cuts of steak. I cut it off and I cut it up separately. I'm a big fan of pork belly. I know not a lot of men are a fan of pork, but you have to get more of your fat into your diet. Very great for the brain as well. Your brain is something like 60% DHA, meaning it is a ball of fat. If you want your hormone system to be working well, you need to be eating fat. Let's segue onto alcohol. So I've never really been or saw the parallels between masculinity or I suppose you could say masculinity and drinking a lot of beer and alcohol, because it elevates estrogen in the body and testosterone converts into that estrogen. And it also increases cortisol, which is a stress chemical which destroys your T. So over drinking can also disrupt your sleep, which will decrease your body's ability to produce testosterone. This is one of the biggest killers in my opinion. I know it's very trite to say eliminate alcohol from your diet, but if you are still drinking, seek cleaner sources. I believe, and somebody will have to double check with me here, but certainly spirits. I'm a fan of tequila. Tequila is usually very clean. And when I am drinking, and I don't drink a lot, when I am drinking, I usually go for something like that. Very, very clean. I can recover very well from it as well. So just be mindful about how much you're taking. And if you are drinking, what kind of alcohol you are drinking. We've mentioned cortisol previously. Cortisol is a stress chemical, and it's going to block your body's ability to produce testosterone. There is an inverse relationship between testosterone and cortisol is that fight-flight response. If you're not in rest and digest, you're not optimizing your hormone profiles, but your body's ability to start boosting testosterone, repairing muscle, and getting the effects of being anabolic. Cortisol is very catabolic. It's a very breakdown heavy process, so you want to be mitigating the stress in your life. Easier said than done, I know, but the way to do this is taking advantage of rest and digest periods, meaning I meditate every morning and every time I go to bed. I make sure I'm getting my body and my neurochemistry into parasympathetic response. I even sometimes take naps if I feel like I need to. Of course, I guess it's a privilege of the lifestyle that I've created, but you need to prioritize your health. If you're not going to prioritize your health, best believe nobody else will. Poor sleep. I always, and I'm not going to go into detail here, but I always advocate you really creating a ritual around your sleep. You want the room to be a colder temperature previously, because your body temperature drops before you go to sleep. You want to be maybe taking a bath, a hot bath, or a shower before bed, as it naturally drops your body temperature. You want to get yourself into parasympathetic response, either by meditating, either by reading, or doing some kind of visualization before bed. Those will get you into that drowsy, dreamlike state. And then make sure you have a consistent time as well. I always like to say get into bed an hour before you typically go to sleep, as this will account for any restlessness. MSG, monosodium glutamate, is a flavor enhancer often added to restaurant foods, canned vegetables, soups, deli meats, and other foods. An adult intake of MSG can negatively impact sperm count and serum testosterone concentrations, as well as testicular morphology. I know I've got, we'll talk about aspartame as well while we're here, another artificial flavoring sweetener. You typically find it in diet sodas. But the main premise with this, guys, just to keep it simple, is just eating real food, drinking real fluids, right? The aspartame specifically is an excitotoxin, pardon me, which actually kills your nerve cells in your neurochemistry once it crosses the blood-brain barrier, pardon me. And it's going to have negative impacts not only on your testosterone levels, but your neurochemistry. It's a hormone disruptor. You want to be taking advantage of filters in your home, making sure you're cleaning the water, making sure you're drinking real fluids instead of all this fake shit. Soy as well. Speaking of fake shit, research is showing that regularly eating soy products like edamame, tofu, and soy milk and miso can cause a drop in testosterone. Why? Because they're high in phytoestrogens. It's an estrogen in your body, and it's going to mimic the same effects of estrogen, which is going to reduce testosterone as a consequence of that. And last but not least, let's talk about BPA, which is bisphenol A, which is an endocrine disruptor found in plastic bottles and food packaging, and another phytoestrogen that can cause stress to the body. This one's a little bit more difficult to kind of compensate for, but you want to be taking advantage of glass containers. I feel are the best. Even things like with a stainless steel can hold some of the toxins. You want to filter your water, I mentioned already. Don't touch receipts, as they can bleed into the skin very, very easily. And also find BPA-free packaging where you can. Guys, I really believe that if you take advantage of eliminating these 9 things from your environment, or at least mitigating the presence of them, you will see a big spike in your energy levels, in your overall zeal for life, in your masculine characteristics, in your ability to build muscle, in your ability to recover better, and also feel less negative emotion. This is what testosterone does, guys. A lot of people think of testosterone and think, oh, big burly bodybuilders with beards and a big dick, right? Maybe it will happen. But the main benefit, in my opinion, is less negative emotion, having more vigor for status driving exercises. Meaning, if you're higher T, you will find pleasure in tasks that accelerate your status. Meaning, you will want to go and work harder to make more money, to be perceived more as high value. That is such an underappreciated element of testosterone. Because so many men are in apathy, are in depression, are in anxiety, to the point where they typically know what they have to do to get out of the situation, but they don't have the energy, they don't have the drive, they don't have the adrenaline to go and do that. If you optimize your testosterone, if you eliminate these things here, you will no longer have that fatigue, that apathy. You will get home from your 9 to 5 and want to do more. Maybe you want to take on additional shifts. Maybe you want to build that business. Maybe you want to go find a girlfriend. You have the idea, but you lack the conviction, the energy in order to do so. And if you eliminate these or mitigate these, then you're tapping into that reservoir to go and get the things that you want to change in life. But like I always say, gentlemen, these are just theories. Take what is valuable, discard which is not, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Take care and optimize that T.